Welcome back to Lost Legacies, a Hidden City bookshop production. Is that what we're
Yep.
going with?
Yep.
Did we talk about this last time?
Yes, we did.
Okay. Yeah. I'm Matt.
And I'm Sam.
It's gonna get a little bit confusing, I think.
We're gonna fix this at some point.
So what's new, Sam?
Nothing much. Just here. Surviving.
Yeah. Let me see, what did I watch anything this weekend? No.
I don't think I did either. We watched the Guardians movies. That's it.
Oh, you rewatched them? Nice.
Yeah.
Okay. I feel like we just recorded. Like, we must have recorded late the last episode, right?
I think we did, yeah.
Because I'm like, we don't, just not really anything new to talk about. Walker Independence got canceled. I never watched it. I always wanted to, but oh well. Sorry, Cat McNamara. SWAT got canceled and then uncanceled because of all the hoopla the fans were bringing up. They're like, you can't do this, blah, blah, blah. So they said, okay, we're going to give you a 13 episode final season. I'm wow. You see, that's considerate, you know?
Yeah. Yeah.
Like,
they didn't have to do that.
Yeah, they didn't. Yeah. And then I'm hearing that apparently like certain stations are dropping the CW just because it's not doing well. And apparently some company bought the CW and they're putting more money into unscripted. So reality stuff. I'm like, oh, of course, dude.
Which a lot of that is also scripted. Let's not kid ourselves. You know?
Yeah, that's very interesting that you bring that up because especially in the midst of this writer strike, there's like this weird invisible line, you know, because like you still have a showrunner, you still have someone calling the shots, but they're not actually writing. Mm-hmm. You know, you have your team say, hey, this is what we're going to do this episode. But then you have someone there producing / directing, making the calls and like almost writing the episode on the spot, you know, and to be a hell of an improviser as far as like storytelling goes to like figure out the story as it's happening in real time.
It's a wild world.
Sure is. Oh, I did watch Shang-Chi this past weekend with Dad.
Oh, so wonderful!
Of course I'd already seen it. Dad liked it a lot.
Mm-hmm. Good.
So yeah, we're kind of just like watching whatever interests him at this point. Like, there's just too many Marvel movies to keep up with. Yeah. So I think next we're just good and jump into Spider-Man, No Way Home. Mm-hmm. So I'm pretty sure he's gonna like that one. Mm-hmm. The D&D movie, I believe it's going to be streaming on Paramount Plus on the 16th of this month.
Oh, cool.
So I'm probably going to be watching that with Dad the following weekend. We'll see. For Mother's Day?
Yeah, that's Mother's Day.
Yeah. Wow. Well, Mom and Dad, we're going to watch Dungeons and Dragons.
There you go.
Yeah. But that's pretty much it. So I guess we're just going to jump into this episode. We're talking about season 4, episode 12. There's No Place Like Home, part 1.
Ooh.
The first part in our 3-part finale, season finale. The board has been set and the pieces are moving. Everyone starts making moves to get off the island. Meanwhile, in the future, the Oceanic Six return to their families. How'd you feel about this episode?
I really dug it. I was sort of like caught off guard by just like, oh, it just kind of ends, you know, but then like as it was ending, I was like, oh, that's right, because it's only part 1 of the finale. Mm-hmm. You know, you got to set everything up.
I think it did better though than like season 2 for sure, where it's just like a big scene and then it just ends. You're like, yeah, you could tell it was supposed to air together. Yeah, because this one we got the montage at the end of where all the characters were. Mm-hmm. And I really like that because that's why I wrote the little thing. The board has been set and the pieces are moving, because that's what it felt like. Like, we're seeing all these characters, all the Oceanic Six, they're pretty much split up right now. So like, what's going to happen to get those 6 together off the island? It's really kind of cool to see everyone's stories splintering off.
Yeah, everybody's just in a different place. And I'm like, because a part of me was like, okay, well, like maybe everybody's gonna like meet up on the boat. Well, there are already a couple people on the boat, but they've got their own problems going on. I'm
Mm-hmm.
like, okay, well, maybe everybody's gonna just like stay on the beach. I was like, nope, everybody's getting ferried to the boat. Okay, well, maybe everybody's heading to the helicopter. Nope, helicopter's already there. Jack's already there, but now Jack's got to go get Hurley, and I'm like, oh my gosh,
Mm-hmm.
where is this going?
I love that. I love that when him and Sawyer and Jack get to helicopter. He's like, so these guys with guns, they're going after Ben and whoever's with him. He's like, yeah. And he looks at Jack. Hugo's with Ben, and Jack just has that moment. Son of a bitch. I was like, yep. That was his Charlie Brown moment.
Yep.
Wow. And then
Good
also, as
grief.
Son and Jin were on the boat, going on the raft going to the boat, I was just thinking, wow, there's a lot of cannon fodder on that raft.
Mm-hmm.
All these extras, I'm like,
Mm-hmm.
hmm.
All these no-named people who just
Mm-hmm.
randomly show up.
Yeah, which is interesting because, like we said, we're assuming Keamy killed all the other survivors who went with Locke, because it looked like
Mm-hmm.
there was a good amount who broke off and went with him.
Yeah.
We're just assuming they got shot and or
I
blown up.
Yeah, yeah. Or old Smokey got him, in the crosshair or something. I'm
Mm-hmm.
like,
I wonder if like a few of them stayed. They're like, we're just gonna stay quiet till everything blows over.
right, right. That would be me.
Yeah, that's where David Caruso is in his Lost series. He's just in the background.
He's just in the background, yeah, doing his own thing. And
Mm-hmm.
I choose to believe that Frogurt was blown up.
Yeah,
I think we said that. Yeah,
yeah.
Frogurt was
He was
blown
trying to
up
go
and
hit on Claire and rang the doorbell and he blew up.
uh-huh.
Mm-hmm.
Good.
Frogurt all over the walls. Oh
R.I.P. You
no,
will not
Gert.
be missed.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I guess let's. Do you want to talk about the flash forwards
Yeah.
first, or
Yeah, because it's like that's very
we start strong?
yeah, yeah. Um they make it back.
Mm-hmm.
They make it back to they're Hawaii, right? Like they're being flown
Yeah.
to Hawaii. Yeah, there so it's a private air base in Hawaii. Everybody's family is there, except for Kate.
Yeah.
Uh but yeah, it was real heartbreaking once that door opens and you see everybody coming in. Hugo's mom and his
Mm-hmm.
dad are there. Um, Jack's mom is there. Son's parents. I'm like, man, and they're crying. Everybody's crying. I'm like, man,
Mm-hmm.
oh my goodness. And oh, Hurley even pulls like Saeed aside to like meet his mom and
Yeah,
dad.
because
I'm
Saeed's
like,
on his own as well.
yeah,
Mm-hmm.
yeah. I'm like, man, it was rough. But it's crazy because right before that, Jack is telling the Oceanic rep who's on the plane with him, who's
Michelle Forbes.
yes, Michelle
Yeah.
Forbes, who just gave a stellar performance, pun intended, in Star Trek Picard.
Mm-hmm.
Um yeah, Michelle Forbes, like she just came in and I'm like, oh, okay, cool. So she's the rep for Oceanic, and like Jack is like kind of dictating what everybody's agreed to
Yeah.
say, and and it kind of seems like everybody is like, yeah, everybody's on board, but nobody likes it.
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
know and this is I feel like everybody is seeing this different side of Jack. Everybody's used to Jack the doctor, the hero, like I'm
Mm-hmm.
gonna get us off the island, like that guy. And to see him kind of like show his stomach and be like, no, we're gonna do this, like it's
Yeah.
fine, we're okay with lying to
Yeah.
everyone about everything. It's like, Yeah, it's weird. It's
Yeah, it's
real
very
weird. I
weird.
yeah, I don't like it.
And I love that scene though, and Jack saying, "Look, if anyone asks you a question that you don't want to answer, don't." He's like, "They'll just think we're in shock." And Sun replies, "We are in shock, Jack."
Mhm.
It's like, yeah, like, oh
Yeah.
man. So I don't know. At some the Michelle Forbes said that it took basically 108 days. That was their
Mm.
journey.
Hmm.
There's that number again. So I'm like, wow, okay. Um, crazy how all of this happened in like 3.5 months. That's
Yeah.
a wild ride.
Yeah.
Uh yeah, it's a very awkward, odd moment. It's just like we got to bite the bullet if we want to go home.
Hmm.
But they know that I don't know. They left people behind. I'm assuming. Like,
Hmm. Hmm.
yeah,
Dunn straight up says that her husband did not make it off the plane. Oh yeah, and they have to go into the whole like, oh yeah, the plane crashed in the ocean and we had to like bust out of the plane and swim to shore and all that.
yeah.
It's like,
They got to explain it.
man, like it
Yeah.
is.
And like I mean it's staged the whole thing cuz they have footage and they have the photos of them on a raft making it to the island getting found,
Hmm.
and I'm like, "Wow.
Hmm.
Okay."
Yeah. All right, Oceanic. Who's in control of Oceanic? It's not Widmore, right?
Right? I don't know.
And I'm assuming Lance Reddick's character is part of Oceanic, you
So
know?
that's well remember cuz he's the one who goes to talk to Hurley, he's representing Oceanic, right?
Oh yeah,
And then
yeah.
Hurley's like, "Who'd you say you work with again?"
Yeah, that's
I
true.
was like,
That
"Can I
is
have a
true.
business card?" He's like, "I forgot it." I was like,
Hmm.
"Oh," because that's a question that I'm kind of asking. Like, wait a minute, like Michelle Forbes is representing Oceanic. Are they in on it? Do they know what's going on? Do
I
they
feel like
actually? Do they actually think these
that
six
they're playing.
survived?
Yeah,
Yeah, that their
yeah.
plane crashed. Like, I'm really curious about that. Or are they aware of the cover up?
Hmm. Yeah, I'm curious about that mostly because like here's a theory. I feel like Widmore does own like a controlling stake or something within Oceanic, you
Maybe.
know?
Yeah.
If not at the outset, at least now,
Yeah.
because like I don't know, like why go through all the trouble of faking the plane? Like faking putting it there underneath the ocean, telling the whole world,
Well, that's a good
Oceanic
point. Yeah.
815 is gone,
Hmm.
you know?
To get
It's like
people.
it's like planes go down all the time. Planes go missing all the time, you know?
Yeah. So you're saying it's kind of like the ones who know,
Yeah.
and like the ones who know about the island, it's trying to throw them off course.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's like, nope, they actually crashed.
Mhm.
Man, that sucks.
Mhm. Mhm.
It's just crazy this whole episode to see Jack kind of wrestling with that. Everyone he's talking to is saying, they're here to kill us. And he's like, oh, I gotta say, Matthew Fox did a really interesting job this episode as an actor because he was, like we said in the flash forwards, he's definitely, it feels like he's rolling over and like he's just saying what he has to.
Mhm.
On the island, it's like, man, he's gonna stop at nothing to get those people off the island. He made a promise, and that's
Mhm.
Jack's whole character. He has to be the one who fixes it.
Yeah.
He has to fix it. Whatever it is, he has to fix it.
Mhm.
But then towards the end of the episode, the last we see of Jack this episode is where he meets Claire's mom. and he
Mm-hmm.
finds out that his dad is having an affair and that Claire was his sister. Dude, Matthew Fox's performance, like he's just like trying not to shake. He kind of just has his hand over his right eye, like he's like he looked like he was glitching out.
Mm-hmm.
Like he just couldn't comprehend what was happening. I'm
Mm-hmm.
like, "Oh my god. That was brilliant. Like good on Matthew Fox for that scene."
Mm-hmm.
And we've known as the audience for what, like at least 2 seasons at this point. But
Yeah.
Jack is just finding out, and it's like, oh, dude.
Mm-hmm.
She's like, you were in the plane for 6 hours together. You might have seen her. I'm like,
Mm-hmm.
oh, her name was Claire. Oh.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And then she
Yeah.
goes and compliments Kate's baby,
Yep.
which is her grandson.
Which is her grandson, exactly. Um, yeah, yeah. It's man, it's a brilliant moment. Um, and yeah, it's just like it's so heartbreaking and it really does like we said from the beginning these flash forwards, Jack is very much like in line, but it's really like right there when Claire's mom is talking about her and reveals this huge thing that like yeah, Jack is like you see the facade break.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like even the eulogy, like it not that Jack's because that's where they are. They're at the eulogy for Jack's dad, for
Yeah.
Christian. Um, and the eulogy doesn't feel fake, but it is just something that like needs to be done because that's originally why he went over
Mm-hmm.
there,
And
and
he
or
even
that's what he came
says,
back to do,
he even said 10 months ago, I wrote what I wanted to say on a napkin. I'm like, geez, it's almost been a year since they crashed.
Yeah.
So a long time has passed. They've been back a long time. At this point, 10 months, at this point, they've been back longer than they were on the island.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that kind of puts a lot of things into perspective. Like, okay, everyone's still together. Everyone was at the eulogy. I don't think I saw
Hmm.
Sun there. But
No,
like Saeed and Nadia were there, Kate and the baby,
oh,
and so was Hurley.
that's right. That's right. Oh, I guess Sun wouldn't be there because she would have had her baby by
Yeah,
this point.
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, that's right. It was yeah, Nadia was there. Yeah, so it's like that, I can imagine Jack has been going, just like day at a time, just like kind of tunnel vision, sort of thing, like this whole
Mm-hmm.
time. And yeah, meeting Claire's mom, finding out that Claire was his sister, this entire time, like the facade breaks,
Yeah.
like you can't hold that back, yeah, you said it perfectly. It's like he's glitching out, finding this out. It's like, man. And then to cut to, back to the island where it's like we're all still here. We're all still trying to like figure it out. It's like, what is the moment? What is the catalyst that brings these people who are fighting so hard to get everybody off the island, to get people off the island? What's
Mm-hmm.
the catalyst that makes them do this?
Mm-hmm.
That makes Hurley have luau themed birthday parties.
Oh man, he's like, yeah, man, my mom, she just doesn't get it.
Yeah.
So this is what I'm looking up on Lostpedia. It says Hurley's birthday is December 29th. So
Capricorn.
his birthday was almost a year, roughly a year since they left the island, since they got back.
Mm.
So it's kind of cool to start seeing the timeline start to form. Like, okay, so they had about a good year of like at peace, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Jack,
Mm-hmm.
it took about 10 months and then he starts freaking out because he finds out about Claire. Hurley had a year and he starts freaking out when he gets in the car and he sees the numbers. Uh so I'm like, okay, I don't remember Kate at the trial how long they had been back. But it kind of seems like she's with Jack in this episode. She even at Hurley's party, she's like, Jack's running late from work, blah, blah, blah. So it's like, okay, I think at this point, they're already a thing.
Yeah. Yeah.
So we can assume that Claudia, not Claudia, what's her name? Nadia and Saeed are still together wearing a wedding band. I don't know if you noticed that.
Oh, I didn't.
Yeah, I just noticed that. I was like, huh, Saeed has a ring on. Um, so
My
they were still
heart.
together for a year at least. I'm like,
Hmm.
okay, all right, interesting.
Yeah.
Now the question is, at what point do all those other flashbacks start happening? Or
Hmm.
flash forwards, I'm sorry.
Hmm.
Like, is it a year from now or is it sooner?
Hmm.
Yeah, because Hurley even says, he's like, man, I was enjoying it too, being back. But then he started to notice things. He's like, oh, it's too perfect, man. He's like, I think we're dead. It's
Hmm.
like, oh, damn it.
And just as a side note, son took over her father's company, so good for
Hell
her.
yeah. Hell
Good for
yeah.
her.
Mm-hmm.
Finally,
Yeah. She
man.
says, we're going to sit down and have a talk about the future of our company. It's like,
Hmm. Ooh,
oh,
ooh, and that man sat his ass back down.
yeah.
Like, yeah, that's right.
Oh,
Mm-hmm. Because she specifically frames it as there are two people in this world that are responsible for my husband's death, and you're one of
yeah.
them.
I was like,
Like,
oh, crap. Who's number
oh,
two?
oh,
What
pretty sure.
happens to Jin?
Yeah, yeah. Now I'm scared. I'm
Or,
freaking out. Which, huh?
what are you going to say? You say, I'm pretty sure it's.
Oh, I'm pretty sure it's Widmore.
Oh, interesting.
You
Mhm.
know, or it's yeah, it's either yeah. I don't well because
Well,
I don't know if Sun knows
yeah, it's
at this
interesting.
point, you know? So I feel like it could potentially be like this is something she finds out after she gets back
Yeah.
or, or what. Oh man, the dream. The dream would be that somehow Sun teams up with Penelope
Ooh.
and they
Rich Girls Unite.
yeah, rich girls unite, girl bosses, let's
Mm-hmm.
go.
Nice. Yeah. Oh, man. I don't know.
Hmm. But talking about the death of her husband, like it's a pretty apt description for us going shifting from flash forwards to present day on the island, or I guess off island,
On the
because where
boat.
we leave off the boat, there's a freaking bomb. And it's not just a teeny tiny bomb; it's a mountain of C4
Yeah, that was a lot
stashed
of
away in one
C4.
of these cabins. Yeah,
It's like, oh, crap.
yeah. I'm just like, oh man,
Mm-hmm.
and Desmond and Son and Jin and Michael, they just can't catch a
Oh, there's
break.
yeah, they reunited with Michael. It's
They
like,
reunite with
oh, man.
Michael.
So
He
now you're
finds out.
working for Ben? I
Mhm.
do not work for Ben. I'm like, technically you do,
You
dude.
kind of do,
Like you're
Michael.
following his instructions, you know?
Yeah,
He's like, I'm
yeah.
trying to what? To make up what he did or whatever. He's like, I'm trying to help you.
Hmm.
Yeah, I get that.
Hmm.
But you're working for Ben.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, thank God Desmond's on that boat, man, because like he went looking for the signal and he found it. I was like,
Hmm.
oh, geez,
Hmm.
we need a bomb diffuser.
Jeez.
We need David Caruso. Get him off the island.
Wait, is he a bomb diffuser?
I'm sure Horatio Kane knew how to defuse a bomb.
Yeah, but I feel like Horatio Kane is more of a bomb exploder.
That's true. He would set it to just go off long enough to get everyone off, and then as
Hmm.
he walks off, it blows up behind him as he puts his sunglasses on.
Hmm. As like
As
as
he
a
says,
Who song, comes up.
"Get lost." Who are you?
No,
Who?
no,
Who?
no. That
Oh
was the
no, that's
first
the
one.
original one.
That
Which
was the
one was
first one.
CSI Miami?
Um, dang it.
I don't remember.
No, I don't remember.
Yeah, me either.
And it was just really weird because I felt like they had to keep like using Who songs
Yeah.
for
Oh,
them,
won't get
so that
fooled again. There you
oh,
go.
that's right. We won't be fooled again. That's how it ends. Um,
And in New
uh,
York was
it was Bubba O'Reilly.
yeah.
Yeah, which like again, I feel like they had to keep with popular Who songs, but like Mm.
Yeah, it was a good theme song, but it was just like that's weird. And then
Mm.
CSI Cyber had which one did they use? I never really watched it.
Mm.
I don't know. I just saw this article. Pete Townsend is glad the Who sold out to CSI. So yeah, there you go. Oh, I can't find Cyber. That's because nobody
Mm.
watched it.
Ooh, dang.
I don't think that's shade. I think that's the fact. So,
Yeah, probably.
oh, and then they came back with Vegas.
Oh, did they do more Vegas?
Yeah,
Oh,
I
cool.
don't know. I'm gonna have to watch this eventually.
All right, so here's a
Maybe not.
question.
I'm just gonna go find the theme songs.
Yeah, just go find the theme song.
Mm-hmm.
Just go on YouTube.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so here's a question. What Who song would you use for the Lost opening?
I feel like they used all of them already.
Mm.
The only other one would be Pinball Wizard. I mean, I don't know.
Wait, did they do Magic Bus?
Yes.
I feel like they did.
I feel like they did.
Yeah. So you keep looking things up. I'm gonna look it up.
I don't want to start talking about CSI and the Who now. We've already. Damn,
It is.
Try to come up with a cool pun. We've already detoured far enough.
Okay.
Speaking of Who, Doctor Who is going to have some pretty big guest stars this upcoming year.
Hey! You said you didn't want to.
It was a transition that I saw. It was present, you know.
Okay, all right.
Who? It made sense.
Oh my gosh.
Doctor Who? Is there any Doctor Who actors on this show?
I don't think so.
No. Shame.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So let's see what else is going on the island. I feel like there's not a lot. Like there's a lot happening, but there's not a lot to talk about because it was all setting up.
Yeah, and it's just a lot of running around. You know, at a certain point, I was like, Saeed gets on the island. Kate, he's getting ready to go off into the jungle. Kate comes back from being in the middle of the jungle with Aaron, dumps Aaron off with Sun, and then runs back into the jungle with Saeed after Jack. And I'm like, it's just a lot of back and forth.
It was a logistical episode. It's like we have to get certain characters in the right place to wrap up this chapter.
Yeah.
Speaking of which, Saeed did not get to the island before the dead doctor. So, and Faraday's going back and forth like nothing. So I'm wondering, does that just mean they know how to stay on the right course?
I think so.
So maybe Frank or whatever hit those, maybe because like they hit that storm, so or whatever, so he went off course a little bit. Mm-hmm. That's why they lost like a day and a half.
Mm-hmm. Could be. Yeah, and also like Faraday and Saeed, like they're making that trip and they're not experiencing any like hallucinations or you know they're not going crazy like Mikowski, you know.
Yeah, and that's what Faraday was saying. He's like, you have to stay on this heading no matter what. Mm-hmm. So it's like, okay.
Which is what Desmond was telling the new like boat captain or pilot, whatever. Like, we have to stay on course.
But he can't go anyway because of the signal. He's like, I can't see the reef. Mm-hmm. Like, oh crap. Mm-hmm. So yeah, okay. So I guess the whole idea of Saeed already being on the island that didn't really pan out. But I think it's because they were actually able to stick to the coordinates when they were in the boat.
Yeah.
Which, if you think about it, they're probably just using compass, or if the compass works, I don't know. It's confusing.
Yeah. So like, I guess like the biggest thing to talk about is just like where everybody ends up by the end of episode 1, you know, or part 1, you know, because like
Sun and Jin are with Desmond and Michael and Aaron on the boat.
Oh yeah, on the freighter.
Jack and Sawyer. They rescue Frank, who I'm assuming stays with the helicopter, and then they go off after Ben because they're trying to save Hurley. Mm-hmm. Saeed and Kate are trying to stop Jack or rescue Jack, but they get captured by Richard and the others, which we haven't seen at all this season. Mm-hmm. So we've seen Richard in flashbacks, but I'm like, okay, interesting.
Honestly, I was just so upset when Richard showed up. I was like, God damn it. Of course. The others are
Yeah.
going to show up in the 11th hour to screw things up with their cryptic nonsense. And they all like, oh, and everybody just looked oddly like reddish tanned. It's like, where the heck have you
Yeah.
guys been? Like, you got
They were in
like,
like their survival wardrobe, like from the first few
yeah,
seasons, like when we would see them in shadows.
yeah.
In season three,
When it was all,
they were in clothes, regular clothes in season three.
yeah, yeah. They're wearing their like their theater department wardrobe for this. They're like, oh,
Yeah.
it's the big finale. We got to look the part.
But I guess also, I mean, they're in hiding. That's the whole thing, that they went to the temple, the
Oh
last
yeah.
place on the island where they're safe, whatever
Hmm.
the hell that means.
Yep.
So I'm like, okay, so what does this mean? Are they taking Saeed and Kate to the temple, or what?
Hmm.
Also, what was Ben telling them? Because he had the little mirror. He was doing like Morse code with them. He's like, what did
Hmm.
you tell them? That's none of your business, John.
Hmm.
So, okay, and then they made it to the orchid, the greenhouse. So Locke and Hurley watch Ben turn himself into Keamy, and he instructs John where to go. Like,
Hmm.
okay, interesting. Which I gotta say, we just saw a little bit of it, but the orchid looked like a really cool set.
Right.
And I don't know if it's still there, but supposedly that's one of the sets they left up in Hawaii.
Oh, interesting.
We talked about that, what, a couple months ago, of like people just leaving sets up,
Hmm.
like Pitch Black and stuff. That's one of them. So like there were a bunch of kids like who took a camera after Lost had wrapped and left the island. They took a camera and they made like their own Lost short film on that set in the orchid. I was
Hmm.
like, dude, this is
That's
so
cool.
cool, man.
That's real
I was
cool.
like, wow.
I want somebody to do that, but like in whenever I get a house, in my backyard.
In your backyard, just leave a set there.
Yeah, just leave a set.
Yeah.
It's fine.
I would build a house at the orchid. It looked cool. Like basically the orchid was like an abandoned greenhouse.
Hmm.
There was no house about it. It was abandoned and broken and destroyed. I was like, wow, okay.
Hmm. Hmm.
So
But there's like a little like row of like planters that have these like beautiful flowers growing in them.
yeah,
So it's like so somebody's technically, I guess, looking after the greenhouse.
magic lost flowers.
Is it Mikhail?
I don't know.
I want Mikhail to fight Keamy.
Yeah, that would be crazy.
That's what I want.
So this whole episode, well, that's a good point. How do you fight Kimi? Because he's big, intimidating, strong dude with a bunch of guys with guns. Like Hurley and Locke are on the outside.
Hmm.
Jack and Sawyer are on the way. Like,
Hmm.
is that enough? Sawyer has
Hmm.
a rifle. Jack had a pistol. I'm like,
Also, Sawyer's really not that much of a shot.
yeah, he's not.
Yeah. And I don't think in like the 3 months that they've been on this island, I don't think his aim has really gotten any better.
No, he killed the panda or the polar bear. But
Yeah, but that's because he unloaded like his whole clip into that thing,
yeah.
you know?
And, oh, I love the best line. The best line is when Jack, he's going off to save what is it? Oh, he says he's going after the helicopter anyway. And Sawyer just looks at Kate. He's like, all right. And he goes after Jack. He's like, hold up. You don't get to die alone. And I was like, yeah, that's good. That's a good callback.
Yep.
Yeah, so this whole episode was just putting the pieces where they need to for whatever comes next.
Hmm.
But it was done in a really fun way
Hmm.
because it was a multi-flashback story. We got to see everyone a little bit in the future, happy. I love when they throw the surprise party for Hurley, and he has like the gold Jesus.
Hmm.
He's like, I thought you were an intruder. Hugo, Jesus is not a weapon. Oh man. Yep, that's all my notes.
I feel like we covered everything, it's a solid setup to,
Yeah.
what is to come.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm nervous. I'm excited. I'm scared. I don't want any of my faves to die.
Yeah. So this is gonna be tricky, but who's the MVPs for this episode?
I feel like we can't really give an MVP because
Me either.
as I get it, like episode 2 and 3 aired together, but this is part one of the finale. We
Yeah.
gotta watch them
I
all.
don't even feel like giving it to ensemble because it just feels like this is just one part of it. Like,
Yeah, exactly.
okay, so predictions. There are 2 hours left in this season. What's gonna happen?
Oh boy. Well, I'm gonna assume that the next 2 hours is gonna show us more flash forwards, but that are like bringing us up to the points where we meet
Oh,
everybody.
okay. Mm-hmm.
You know, so yeah, like we'll probably see like because we kind of already saw like Jack starting to drink again, but I feel like we're really gonna like see him go over.
Mm-hmm.
We're gonna I feel we need to find out more about Sun. We
Mm-hmm.
just the two things we know is that she has a beautiful, healthy baby girl, and um whatchamacallit, she takes over her father's company.
Mm-hmm.
Like that's it. I want to know more. I want to know what she's been doing. I
That's
want to know
interesting.
why nobody showed up except for Hugo.
That is interesting because she's the one we know least about right now.
Mm-hmm.
Because everyone had a story. Her her flash forward episode was just trying to get through the pregnancy, trying to
Mm-hmm.
actually have the baby. So we didn't actually get to see where or what's going on. And then in this episode, she's already had the baby.
Mm-hmm.
And that's when she takes over the family business.
Mm-hmm.
So she pulls a Bruce Wayne, man. She did it through several different banks and charities.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Look, it's all a bit technical, but the important thing is that my family's company is secure.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah.
Man,
Son.
what a boss.
Uh-huh. Put Sun in the Batmobile. She's gonna
Yeah.
save everybody on the
I
island.
was gonna say Bruce Wayne, boss bitch. Yeah. Yeah, okay. More flash forwards to catch up with the six. And then last
Mhm.
week you did mention uh season ends when the island disappears. You said Locke's gonna move the island somehow.
Oh
I'm
yeah.
like,
Yeah.
okay. And we're assuming because they keep bringing it up, that's where they're going to the Orchid to as a last resort.
Mm-hmm.
So, man. Yeah. Well, that's it for that. Next week, we're going to be talking about the 2-part season finale, season 4, episodes 12 and 13. There's no place like home, parts 2 and 3. Everyone continues to make moves to get off the island. Meanwhile, what else happens to the Oceanic Six? That's it. That's all I wrote.
It's solid. I
You
like
pretty
it.
much predicted, yeah. So, yeah. Man, okay. Well, I feel like it was a little short episode today. That's fine. Next week is probably going to be a little longer because we have 2 episodes to talk about, and we'll probably like retrospect the whole season.
Mm-hmm.
So, and listeners, that might be our last episode for at least a week or two.
Well,
Because
that's true. We are going to go on a little break.
yeah, as usual, we take a little break between seasons, but also Sam's going to be making a movie out in Los Angeles.
Mm-hmm. Los Angeles. Yep.
Mhm.
I'm heading off to LA to film our Kickstarter movie, La Chusa. It's gonna be great. I'm only gonna be gone for a couple days because it's a real tight thing. But yeah, when I come back, I'll have stories to tell, hopefully.
Hopefully
Yeah.
good stories.
Yeah, hopefully good stories,
Mhm. Yeah. Cool. Hit us up, hashtag Lost Legacies. I'm on Twitter at _Matt Jimenez and on Instagram at Holy Hand Grenade of Antioch, which is funny because that name was trending this past week because of the
Oh.
king's coronation.
You might have gotten some new followers.
I think it was mostly spam, like
okay.
OnlyFans bots, but
Oh.
yeah.
Hey, those numbers count.
Yeah, I know. I clicked the link to or the little hashtag, and it was all pictures of like the little holy hand grenade thing he walks with. And then the lady, the what? The lady distributing swords. She was holding that sword for like 2 hours, man, through that whole ceremony. I was like, oh my
ridiculous.
God.
It's ridiculous.
Crazy.
Y'all could have been at home watching Lost. Y'all could have been at home listening to Lost Legacies.
Mm-hmm.
But instead, yeah.
Yes, to our English listeners, those were your hardworking tax dollars at work.
Mm-hmm.
So,
cheerio.
Sam, where can they find you?
You can find me on Twitter and Instagram at I almost said a holy hand grenade event.
Oh no, that's me.
I'm stealing your identity. No,
they won't know the difference because we've both shaved and got haircuts.
And we don't post that often, so it doesn't matter. You can find me on Twitter and Instagram at real, that's REEL, Texas Weirdo.
Until next time, everyone, get lost.
Get lost.
Won't get fooled again.